We're going to take a trip back in time to the year 1994 when some Greys came in human form sitting inside a casino.
If you got vaccinated, you need to watch this.
Tell me how to get to where you are. There's two key ingredients, but one is...
In the 1950s, there was a young preacher in Indiana. His name was Jim Jones. He was loud. He was passionate. He said all the right things.
Are now literally beginning to experience the physical effects of your world splitting into multiple...
Family, this is Lady Boss Energy, where we uplift, motivate, and inspire each other to get our shit together. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who you think would enjoy watching this, share it with them. These videos are for entertainment purposes. I'm not responsible for what you do or don't believe. Take what you believe and do your own research. There might be a trigger warning, or 2, or 3, or 4, or 5, 6, I don't know. But if there is, I apologize. So on top of the baloney that I am dealing with in my house, my brother just had a baby, a little girl, 6 pounds, 3 ounces, Remy Lynn Rodriguez. And they are currently in the NICU. She has a air bubble in her lung, and they don't know why. So, and my mom might have to have open heart surgery. I hope she don't. I'm praying for both of them. Just got a lot of things going on in my life, but you know what? I'm not going to let that stop me. Because at the end of the day, I have to remind myself that no matter how hard or no matter how hard I think it is, somebody's always got it harder. So, if you're going through something, just know it can always be worse, but it's really not that bad. It seems like it is in the moment, but it's not. It's not. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. Affirmation time. Hey. I forgot our affirmations. Hold on. I'm going to pause you. Pause. Our first affirmation for today say... I don't know why I do that. I celebrate my individuality. Dress in a way that expresses your unique style and personality. Well, I do it every day. Every day I do it. I hope you do too. Because who cares what other people think? So what? Dress how you want to dress. Feel how you want to feel. Live how you want to live. Because at the end of the day, if you knew, you wouldn't care about what other people thought of you if you knew how seldomly they thought about you. It's this simple. And, wait, and our second affirmation says, my potential to succeed is limitless. Celebrate a small victory or achievement today. Well, I celebrate them all the time. I need to start, I want to start reflecting at the end of the night. I have a journal that I write in daily, but it is called the Kaizen Challenge. And I do reflection every night, but like I really want to do a reflection where like I say, okay, what did I accomplish today? What did I want to accomplish that I didn't accomplish? And I think that will help me fall more in line with becoming and stepping into my true self. And our quote of the day, because a quote a day keeps the mediocre away. The journey is worth it, even if the destination changes. Yeah, even if the destination changes. The journey is still worth it because you get all of that experience and knowledge that you gained along the way. That's why it's important to enjoy it. Enjoy it, stay aware, make beautiful memories, and love people, love everybody. You know, I was in class yesterday, and, well, not yesterday, it was actually 2 months ago, and my facilitator was like, yeah, you know, when we have to keep our composure when, you know, because we know that there's bad people, and then continued on. And it wasn't like word for word what he said, but pretty much like there are bad people in the world. And I said, no, there aren't bad people. There are people who make bad decisions. There are people who allow the dark to consume them, but nobody's bad. There's nobody that's bad. Nobody was born that way. They learned it through trauma, through pain, through anxiety, fear, all of those things. And majority of people that are bad, it's a trauma response. They behave that way. There are no excuses, but I know when I behaved the way I behaved, it's because I was unhealed. I was unhealed, and I was hurting inside. And so when I see people behave that way, my heart goes out to them, because I was once that scared, afraid, egotistic, insecure, unsure of herself, unconfident little girl inside. And I'm not her anymore. And so, yeah, man, it's going to be all right. It's all going to be all right. There's no bad people in the world. It's just how they choose to be. It's a choice. And our cheesy joke of the day, because what is a day without a cheesy joke? What? What did the burger name her daughter? Bunny? I don't know, bunny? Pickle? Do you give up? Patty. Of course she named her burger baby Patty. Of course she did. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's get straight into it.
If you got vaccinated, you need to watch this.
First of all, you give them phones. Then you give them smartphones. Then you go to technology on the body. Next is inside the body. The other side of it is what they call the cloud. Through the medium of this cloud, they will connect to this self-replicating nanotechnology in the body. It will control what you think. Artificial intelligence becomes the human mind. That's the goal. So, is it such a stretch to think that an anti-human agenda could be perpetrated ultimately by a non-human race, a non-human force, operating outside of human visual?
He said the nanotechnology is self-replicating, which means once it goes inside your body, it creates its own self. It keeps duplicating itself and it's going to your brain. This was all a part of the plan, people. They're going to control your mind, and they probably already are through satellites. It's technology. They always tell us through movies what's going to happen. Check this out. Everybody that got this is connected to a server, a cloud, and everybody is going to be controlled mentally. And this is why they forced everybody to get it. They threatened your job. They told you that you were going to lose this. You people need to be detoxed. And if you didn't get it, make sure you're not sleeping with people who got vaccinated, because you're going to take on their blood and that nanotechnology that's in their bloodstream. Holy
That's scary.
Tell me how to get to where you are. There's two key ingredients, but one is see yourself as high as you possibly can see yourself, right? Who do you see yourself as? And there's no right or wrong answer. Clarify and define your vision for yourself in the highest possible way that you can see it. Be delusional even, to the point where to where your mind, right at the apex of what your mind believes is possible, maybe push past that even a little bit and define it. And then number two is like believe it. You know what I mean? Like see it all the time and believe it.
Gotta believe it.
This is a developmental system made by MC10. And it has an antenna and some sensors embedded in it. And what we plan to do is work with them to advance a tattoo that could be used for authentication. Now, it may be true that 10 to 20-year-olds don't want to wear a watch on their wrist, but you can be sure that they'll be far more interested in wearing an electronic tattoo, if only to piss off their parents. Right? And that's something that you wear, but you could also imagine including authentication in just your daily habits. So I take a vitamin every morning. What if I could take vitamin authentication?
What?
Vitamin authentication. Look, I have one right here. Well, here, I'll let you hold it. Would you like to hold it?
I'll hold it.
Okay. So this,
You guys see it?
this pill has a small chip inside of it with a switch. It also has what amounts to an inside-out potato battery. When you swallow it, the acids in your stomach serve as the electrolyte.
That's what I do.
And they power it up, and the switch goes on and off. And it creates an 18-bit ECG-like signal in your body, and essentially your entire body becomes your authentication token. Yes, this is true. Okay?
Okay, but
Okay, so wait. So it's really true. So what this means is that becomes my first superpower. I really want this superpower. It means that my arms are like wires, my hands are like alligator clips. When I touch my phone, my computer, my door, my car, I'm authenticated in. First superpower. Like, I want that.
I don't. I'm good.
Let me give you a quick example about the maritime law, the law of water, the law of the sea. Money is water by law. So when a ship, this is why all ships are female by law. All ships, rocket ship, sailing ship, airship, it doesn't matter. If it's a ship, it's female.
Right.
Because the captain always refers to his ship as she.
Right.
She's a good ship, or she's done this. Why she? Because she delivers the product.
Right, the
Without
vessel.
she, there is no product, right?
It's a vessel. It's a whole.
Of course it is a vessel. So is your body. It's a vessel that produces a product.
Right.
So when the ship pulls into harbor, it stops, and where it parks is called its berth. It's berthing a ship, or she sits in her berth. And every item on that ship, coming out that ship, is money. It's money changing hands.
Right.
And it came in on water. So it's called. So every piece has to have what is called a certificate of manifest, because she is sitting in her berth. That's why when you were born,
I had a birth
you
certificate.
had your mother's water broke. You were inside a container of water. Her water broke, and you came out, and therefore you have to have a birth certificate.
Wow.
And it's got to be signed by the dock, because that's where the ship is sitting. The dock is where the ship sits.
It's funny.
So once you begin to see how the words and terms are all based on maritime admiralty, the law of water, the cash flow, the liquid asset.
But is that just in English, the dock, the water?
Yeah, of course. But of course, it goes all the way back to the English or British domination of the seas.
Oh.
And so when the British began to dominate the seas, the Knights Templar Masonic Order of the Knights Templars, who have been in the middle of Asia, came back into Western, Eastern Europe, brought all of these concepts, and it was developed into a commercial system of words and terms and symbols, which are used in courts and government and corporations. You know, your body as a corporation. No, that's a whole story. We could talk for hours on this, but your body is a corporation.
Of cells, you mean?
No. It's called, and by law, your body, your physical body is a corporation. And so when you die, you're a corpse. Because when you're living, you're a corporation. You are a business. And hanging out with that person is bad business.
Right.
Or who I hang out with is none of your business.
Right.
Because your body is a business.
Wow.
And so you say, well, you know, what you're doing with her or him is bad business.
Right.
But, of course, if you're getting married and she's very wealthy, you say she's of good stock. Right? Words and terms are based on maritime admiralty, the law of water. And so that's why when you go into...
I'm sorry, I didn't get part 2.
I'm going to show you what's happening in the quantum field when you have a fear of being seen and how it impacts your personal brand and your messaging, because this was your most common question on my last video. This is Jane, and this blue circle is Jane's energy field. What's going on inside her energy field is her internal world, which is creating the external reality. First thing I want to talk about is your frequency, because this is the foundation of your personal brand, your business, your messaging, your social media content. And there are two biggest mistakes that I see people make. The first one is they water themselves down. They're trying to blend into the sea of sameness or what their industry is doing. And the second is that they don't deal with the internal wounds. So let me break this down a little bit more with what each of these mean. I'm going to give you two examples of what it looks like to water down your message and why it doesn't work. The first one is my example, visibility. That's my expertise. And when I first started out, I really focused on what everybody else in the industry was talking about. Everybody was talking about how to create content, how to grow a following, personal branding, messaging, and I was talking about it in the same way everybody else was. I wasn't standing out and I wasn't attracting my people. When I finally brought all of myself in, I combined all of my skills, my spiritual gifts, my talents, so quantum healing, psychic channeling, being a former publicist and brand and business strategist, being a content creator. I brought all of this in and I started talking about it in the exact way you're watching this video right now. This is what skyrocketed my business because I was treating visibility from a 360 angle in a way nobody else was. Second example is actually a recent client of mine. He's an herbalist and he was talking about this from the perspective of like integrative healing, herbal solutions, talking about this in a very mainstream way, the way everybody else has been talking about herbalism and how it's a part of the healing journey. When we actually dove into what his unique skills and message are, he's actually a medical intuitive. So he scans the entire body for the unseen. Once he understands what's going on in the body, he's able to draw the connection between the emotional and spiritual with the physical body. And then he combines this with herbal supplements to heal all aspects, mind, body, and soul. And do you know what happened? As soon as he talked about it this way, I booked with him before the call even ended. He was here to see me for my visibility skills, yet I booked with him because when I heard this, I was like, oh my God, you're tackling this in a way I haven't heard other people do before. I need to work with you. Jane has this beautiful, vibrant pink frequency, and in the quantum field is the unlimited potential, and everything already exists here. So there are already people who are waiting to work with Jane. They hold the same frequency, they resonate with her in her most authentic style. So when she speaks without watering herself down, she reaches the people who are already waiting to work with her. That light bulb goes off and they are activated into her world. When she waters her message down and tries to talk to everybody, the masses, and blend in, her message becomes very distorted and she doesn't even reach those people. She's just talking into the abyss. In my next few videos, I'm going to talk about the wounding that's impacting your personal brand and your message, as well as how to create a multi-passionate personal brand and message. And if you want to dive deep with me, you can register for my free workshop at the You Know What, You Know Where.
I'm going to have to check her out.
So there's a massive aspect of receivership. Receivership only happens when you're worthy. So keywords that you want to think about when you're thinking about how to pull in Messiah-based energy that has always been there for us because we've been given examples of it all the time is being in receivership and becoming worthy. If you're not in receivership and you're not worthy, this is going to be very challenging for you. And a lot of individuals feel like they're not worthy. I'm not good enough. I'm not that. How many stories do you tell yourself about what you're not? So now it's time to tell yourself about what you are. And as you go through the process of telling yourself what you are, what will start to happen is that worthiness construct underneath you will start to hold a very big container, and that container will start to expand. And when it starts to expand, then at which point what starts to come into it is everything that's already intended for you.
I love that.
How many fingers am I holding up?
5.
Wrong. These are 2 fingers. Remember that. How many fingers are these?
2.
Wrong again. These are 5. I know it doesn't make sense. Just trust me. Trust me. I'll explain it. Let's get into our story. In the 1950s, there was a young preacher in Indiana. His name was Jim Jones. He was loud. He was passionate. He said all the right things. He preached equality when segregation was still the law. He opened a church called the People's Temple. He said everybody was welcome. Black, white, rich, poor. He fed the hungry, helped the elderly. He fought racism. To many people, he wasn't just a pastor. He was hope. He called him father. He called them my children. But with time, the message started to shift. He stopped reading from the Bible. He said, I am your Bible now. He performed fake miracles. He used blood packs to pretend that he had healed people, told followers that questioning him was like questioning God. The more power he gained, the more dangerous he became. By the 1970s, his church had thousands of members in California. Politicians wanted his support because He could fill rallies with screaming supporters. He even became the chairman of the San Francisco's Housing Authority. He had fame, he had influence, complete control over his followers. Then newspaper exposés started uncovering the truth. Beatings, lies, sexual abuse, threats. To his members, he called it persecution. He said that America hated them because they were pure. That the only solution, he said, it was to start over somewhere new, somewhere far away from here, somewhere safe. So in 1977, Jim Jones packed up about 900 of his most loyal followers and he moved them to the jungles of Guyana, South America. He called the place Jonestown. He promised paradise, no racism, no poverty, no pain, just beauty and peace. At first, it looked like heaven. People cleared the land, they sang songs, built houses side by side. They thought they had found peace. But the jungle started showing its real face. The soil was poor, the heat was brutal, mosquitoes were everywhere, food started to run short. People walked from when they opened their eyes to sunset. And when the sun went down, there was no rest. Jones would call meetings for hours that lasted till morning. His voice would be echoing through loudspeakers that played day and night. Even when you're sleeping, you're hearing this man. Passports and money, they were taken for safety. Letters that people tried to write home, they were censoring the letters. Armed guards patrolled the gates. The jungle was thick. The river was long. Listen, there was nowhere to run. Then came the white nights. Sirens in the middle of the night. Everybody rushing half asleep to the pavilion, running. Jones would hand out cups of red liquid and he would say, "It is poison, drink." People cried, but they drank and then they waited. Then he would laugh and say, "It was just a test." He wasn't testing their faith. He was testing their obedience. How many? Very good.
5.
Very good. You're learning. This is 2. You remembered. I know it still looks like 5, but just stay with me. Just trust me. This is 2. Okay? Back in America, families started to worry. They formed a group called the Concerned Relatives and they begged the government to investigate. A congressman named Leo Ryan, he decided to go and see for himself. So in November of 1978, he flew to Guyana with journalists and worried family members. When they arrived, Jonestown, it looked like paradise. Music, dancing, laughter. Jones put on his best smile. But in the middle of all that, a man slipped a note to a reporter, into a reporter's hand. It said, "Please help get us out of here." By the next morning, about 15 people asked that please, they want to leave with the congressman. They want to go back to the United States. Jones, he said, okay, and he was smiling, but he was so angry inside. As the group headed to the small port Kaituma airstrip, the airport, a tractor full of armed guards followed them. When the planes were ready to board, they opened fire. Congressman Leo Ryan, his life was taken immediately. 3 other journalists too lost their lives. Others too were shot, including Ryan's aide, Jackie Spear. She survived 5 gunshot wounds. When Jones heard what had happened, he knew there was no going back. He told his followers, "They are going to come for us. They will torture all our children." Then he called everybody to the pavilion one last time. A large container of grape flavor aid, like Kool-Aid, mixed with cyanide and sedatives. It was set on the table. He called it medicine. He told mothers, "Give it to your children first." Some mothers cried, parents begged. A woman named Kristen Miller, she pleaded, she said, "Please, we can still go to Russia. We don't have to die." Jones said, "It's too late." Then over the loudspeakers came his final words. "If we can't live in peace, then we must die in peace." Parents held their babies and fed them this poison. Adults followed. Those who refused, they were injected by force. Guards stood by with guns to make sure that nobody ran. Within an hour, more than 900 people were dead. Men, women, over 200 children. Jim Jones died last, a gunshot wound to the head, likely by his own hand. A few survived by hiding or running into the jungle. They somehow escaped. Then the Temple's basketball team, they were in Georgetown that night. So when they came back, the whole town was silent. Everybody was gone. How many? 5. Perfect. You're learning fast. I know it doesn't make sense. Just keep trusting me, okay? That's how they convince you that 5 fingers are 2. The sun is green, grass is purple, the sky is falling down. Not overnight. Bit by bit. You hear it so many times that one day, One day you just stop arguing with your own eyes. This was exactly what Jim Jones did. It didn't make sense to uproot your entire life and follow him to a jungle, but he said, trust me. It didn't make sense to hand over your savings, your children, your freedom, your life, but he said, no, just trust me. It didn't make sense to stop writing to your family, to leave behind armed guards, to drink from that poisoned cup, but he said, trust me. And they all did. People still say, don't drink from the Kool-Aid. That's from this case. Like, as if it's just a saying. But behind that line, there were real families, teachers, nurses, grandparents, people who only wanted a better world. And they followed the wrong voice. How many fingers are these? 5. There are 5. How many are these?
2.
2. Exactly. You have always known that. You already knew that. Don't ever allow somebody to talk you out of what you know to be true. Ask questions. Think. Even faith needs eyes. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you like stories or videos like this, please follow me. I tell these stories all the time on all my social media. Thank you.
They tell you, and what I'm about to say is for entertainment purposes. It's not true. I'm just speaking my thoughts. If that man was able to convince all of those people, like how she said, how many fingers am I holding up? No, 2. By the end of that video, when she held up 5 fingers, were you thinking 2? I wasn't. I'm just asking. Because that is a perfect example of how they convince us that we are nothing. How they convince us that we need them. How they convince us that we're powerless and small and nothing. And I'm here to tell you, they are afraid of us. We are their superiors, and they know that. They know that. But they've brainwashed us to believe a lie. Just like Jim Jones did. Those people. Oh, I promise it's gonna be beautiful and magical and a paradise. But then they get there, and it wasn't at all. It was nothing like he promised. Just like your favorite president, talking about how he's gonna take down inflation and make America great again, and all he's doing is making it worse than it's ever been. But the problem is not with them. The problem is with ourselves. We are so divided by red, black, white, yellow, right, wrong, man, woman. You get the gist of what I'm saying. That it's time we put our differences aside. Or we're going to end up just like those people in Jonestown. And that is the honest to God truth. I'm watching The Walking Dead. And this is like my 5th or 6th time watching that show all the way through. I'm currently on season 9, episode 2, I believe. And all the other times that I've watched it, I've never watched it from the perspective that I'm able to watch it from now. And when you look at that show, if you've watched it, if you haven't, you should. It's a really good show. But think of all the survivors that survived the zombie apocalypse from all walks of life. Every different background you can think of. You had some that were prisoners. You have some that were police officers. You have some that were, really important people. You have some that were housewives and drug addicts. Like all people from all walks of life coming together, working together to make it work without their system. And to to let go of the system, it's almost like, honestly, it's like a drug. We're so addicted to our phones, to food, to TV, to shopping, to things that hold no value whatsoever. But together we can. I want to read you something that I actually wrote the other night. I wrote it down, and it's called the rubber and glass ball theory. And it goes like this. Life gives you two kinds of weight. Some are rubber, some are glass. Work is rubber, money is rubber, deadlines, emails, the noise, rubber. You can drop them, they bounce. They'll be there tomorrow. But your babies, they're glass. Your partner is glass. Your integrity, your nervous system, your people, glass. Drop those and they don't bounce. They break. Sometimes, so quietly, you don't notice until the damage is already done. Burnout isn't weak. It's treating everything like it weighs the same, gripping harder instead of setting things down. Calling survival discipline. You keep showing up. You keep carrying it all. But when something has to hit the floor, let it be the rubber. Because no job holds your hand in a hospital room. No inbox raises your babies. No amount of money replaces presence. And one day, your babies won't reach for you. One day, your body will stop negotiating. One day, your people will need you, not your productivity. You're tired, not broken. You're human. Just don't sacrifice the glass to save the rubber. Protect the glass, always. We make the wrong things important to us. But it's us, it's each other who needs each other. We don't need them. They lie to us. They poison our food. They poison our air. They sell us clothing that sucks the life out of us. They poison our products. They have our babies preparing to be workers, not thinkers. To be dependent upon the system, not independent. And you think that because you get to go to school and you have a degree and you have a great job that you're free. You're not. You're not, because at the end of the day, you are wasting your life on something that isn't even real. And that is all I gotta say about that.
I feel like when it comes to black people, you know, we tend to generalize and say we want to create generational wealth, or we want to unify. But I really think it's about getting the best talent in the room with the best talent. And they might not always be black. I tell people this. Sometimes the motherfuckers that you want to do it with are going to be the people that you can't do it with. The people that you want to do it with the most are going to be the people that you probably most likely in our community can't do it with. You'll talk to your brother over and over again, but a stranger would automatically get it. And then now the people who we don't give a shot are the people for us. So I just learned to focus on skill set as opposed to just like, oh, we from the same neighborhood. I learned to focus on mindset as opposed to like, oh, well, this is something I should be doing for my community because I'm black. And I also think that the community has to become a little bit more micro. So I think the first thing that allows you to come into the community is you black. The second thing is that you black with the same mindset, or else that shit ain't gonna work.
It's not about color.
Are now literally beginning to experience the physical effects of your world splitting into multiple parallel reality versions of Earth. Literally, physically. The idea is you're going to see a lot more shakeups and breakups because you are disassembling the idea that you live in one reality and beginning to understand that no matter that you can still see a reality you don't prefer, it doesn't mean you're living in it. There are now what might euphemistically be referred to as glass walls beginning to appear between the different reality vibrations. So even though you may still be able to see a reality you don't prefer and people making choices you don't prefer, just because you can see them doesn't mean that what they're doing can reach you through that glass wall. These walls are filters now. They are beginning to exist as thickening energy. And less and less and less will you be able to receive or experience the effects of someone else's reality that is not vibrationally compatible with the reality you prefer. But you, by living the reality you prefer, because the others on the other side of the glass walls can still see you too, allows you to become a living example of other kinds of choices that they can also make should they decide to do so.
Lead by example.
I quantum jump in the shower every single day. So here's what you want to do. Before you hop into the shower, you're going to say this. On completing the shower, I'm going to be transported into the timeline. And then that is where you're going to list all the things that you want in your new timeline, your desired timeline. And when you're done doing your shower, your scrub-a-dub-dub, you're going to affirm to yourself, you're washing off any energy holding you back, any self-sabotage, any limiting beliefs, anything that is stopping you from entering your new timeline. And then that final rinse, you're just going to affirm one more time. The second I step out of this shower, I live my new timeline. Now, if you want to learn other techniques on how to quantum jump, I list out the exact steps in my book, Quantum Manifestation. That's for sale through the link in my bio. Check that bad boy out if you want to learn and transform your life.
You know, and I've talked about part of your healing journey is remembering how the old you were responding to some shit. Like, there are times now when I'm like, people have no idea the amount of chaos and anger and rage that I have had to flow through, grow through to reach the levels of peace that I have now. The clarity and the intention of my responses is definitely an intentional choice that is a reflection of my healing. But every now and then you want to remind folks, please don't get it fucked up. Every ounce of my chaos, my fire, and my fury now still holds its power. I just don't want to use it. So please don't fuck with me. Alright, good night.
When people start talking to me about how they don't like their life and they want some changes, I always tell them to force a timeline shift. And you can do that in very little ways because the shifts are not always big. And one way to force a timeline shift is to do something different that you normally do on autopilot. So say when you wake up in the morning, you always get out on the left side of the bed, you put on your slippers, you go in the kitchen, you turn on your coffee pot, you grab the particular mug and sit it on the counter. This day, get out of bed, put your slippers on, go to the bathroom first. Go to the bathroom and brush your teeth. Maybe wash your face. Then go to the kitchen and start the coffee pot. Right there, you caused an interruption in the loop of the timeline that you are already in, and you automatically shift to a version that's very similar but also a different change. Something else you could do is on your way taking your kids to school, say you always drive down this particular block, go around, leave a little bit earlier and go around and come up the block a different way. This signals to the universe that I'm awake. I don't have to be locked into this particular version of myself. And you'll start noticing new and different opportunities. You'll even start getting some new ideas because what that does is it signals to your brain and to your field that you're ready for a reroute. You literally step into a new version of yourself. So yeah, change one habit and watch your timeline change with it.
Until the pain of staying the same
becomes greater than the pain of change, we're not going to change. Sometimes it takes an enormous amount of pain, an enormous amount of discomfort in order for us to do the things that we know we need to do. So think about this. Until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change, you won't change.
We're going to take a trip back in time to the year 1994 when some grays came in human form sitting inside a casino. They were right here in front of people's faces testing out their hybrid subjects, testing out their abilities. A Las Vegas security guard was monitoring the CCTV of his casino when he noticed three strange beings enter and start playing games. They had huge bald heads and were wearing robes. The security guard thought they were simply wearing costumes, but he noticed that nobody else in the casino were paying attention to them despite their appearance. It's because they can put you in a trance state. One of the beings looked straight at the camera despite being hidden behind a glass panel. Later, a man in black confiscated the HD copies, but the witnesses managed to take 2 photos of the video.
About to blow your mind. I'm about to show you the man that's actually responsible for Indians off, but not by smallpox. They lying. Here's the truth. This is Walter Plecker. In 1924, he created the Racial Integrity Act. This act forced all Indians to be reclassified as colored. Yes, colored. The same term they call Black Americans' ancestors. Proven before our ancestors was called colored, it was called Indians. Killing the Indians off on paper. This is why the Civil Rights Act of 1968 was also called the Indian Civil Rights Act. You awake yet? The slave ship story is a myth. This is Alex Haley. He created the fictional novel Roots, which was later made into a docuseries and presented on the History Channel. He claims he traced his lineage back to his 7th-time great-grandfather named Kunta Kinte, an African took him from a village which would be modern-day Gambia. This is a book named The African by an author named Harold Colander. Remember that name? Guess who was the main character of this story? You guessed it, Kunta Kinte. In 78, Haley was sued for plagiarizing Colander's book, The African. If this was his real grandfather, how your great-great-great-grandfather had the same name as Colander's main character? And why was this fraud rewarded with a monument in Heritage Square? Part 2, I'm going to tell you why.
Why the you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop lying.
Black Americans are the Aboriginal Indians of America. Check out this glitch in the Matrix.
When I was reading to prepare for this interview, I was quite surprised to see you use the word Aborigines talking about African Americans.
You know, I've dealt with that issue. I've already talked publicly about that. And my purpose here today is to say that I'm very sorry, and I apologize to anyone whose feelings were hurt by my comment. I've made very, very clear I don't know where that comment comes from.
Well, from your subconscious.
Well, I guess. I mean, it's not even a normal thing anyone would say. Even if you meant something in a negative fashion, I don't know if you would pull.
The average Black American don't even know what an Aborigine is. So tell me again how their feelings would be hurt by the phrase. Secondly, why they making him apologize like he said the N-word or something? Thirdly, pay attention to the subconscious phrase. That's them basically saying that subconsciously they know who he is, even if we don't know who he is. And you people, he said that ain't no average information, of course, because that's one of the biggest secrets in American history. Aborigine, a person, animal, or plant that has been in a country or region from the earliest time. So by him calling African Americans Aborigines, basically he's saying that we was the first people on this landmass, right? Tell me again how that's offensive? The apology wasn't for Black Americans, the apologies was for the higher-ups who's trying to keep that a secret. Black Americans are the Aboriginal Indians of America, Part 2. Let's check out Malcolm X's breakdown what an Aborigine is.
Aborigines, which means what? Black folks. You never find a white Aborigine. Aborigines are called natives, or they're always dark-skinned people. You and I are Aborigines, but you don't have to be called an Aborigine.
There's 2 key notes to take away from what Malcolm just said. 1, they're always dark-skinned people. The statue behind me is Pocahontas' father, Chief Powhatan. If he was living today, what do you think they would have identified him as? And 2, you'll never find a white Aborigine. So explain to me how this white guy above me is the actual chief of an indigenous tribe. Black Americans realizing their true identity is the biggest threat to the U.S. government. Because then the reparation conversation changed from them kidnapping you from a continent to you being the people that they stole the land from. See, they couldn't get rid of us physically, so they got rid of us psychologically. And you're forced to go to their school so you never realize who you really are. They have to control our minds from a very young age. And they have to separate us from our parents as well. I mean, all of their traditions is built off lies. Easter Bunny, Santa Claus. When you build your power off lies, the biggest threat to your foundation is truth. This is about to blow your mind. I'm about to show you the man that's actually responsible for Indians off. But not by smallpox, they lying. Here's the truth. This is Walter Plecker. In 1924, he created the Racial Integrity Act. This act forced all Indians to be reclassified as colored. Yes, colored, the same term they call black Americans ancestors. Proven before our ancestors was called colored, they was called Indians. Indians off on paper. This is why the Civil Rights Act of 1968 was also called the Indian Civil Rights Act. You awake yet?
Exhibit A. Here's a modern day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today. And here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today. And here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it.
Are you seeing it yet?
There's a concrete pyramid just sitting out here in the middle of nowhere. It's way bigger than it looked from the road, and those panels up there look almost black.
Why are you so far away?
There's an entrance built into the base, looks sealed, but that's the way in.
It's darker inside than I expected. Once I step in, there's no view back. The air feels different in here, it's colder, and the sound just changed. It keeps going, this place is much deeper than it looked from outside.
This is dark. This must be the core of it. It's massive inside. There's more below, but once I go down, I might not see daylight again.
I don't know.
In today's video, a special episode, we are looking at footage that US police never wanted released to the public. Mutated creatures, deformed human remains, abandoned nuclear sites where cameras were shut off and reports were sealed. From Hanford to a drifting military ship off the coast of Florida, there are things still alive in places where nothing should exist anymore. Stay until the end and answer this question for yourself. What has America been hiding all these years?
To kick off today's list, we start with a video sent to us by a man named Daniel R., who lives near the forests of southeastern Washington.
Daniel says he recorded this footage one winter afternoon while hunting near the Columbia River area. From a hillside, he saw nuclear security police and a U.S. military unit sealing off an empty field less than 15 miles from the Hanford nuclear reservation. Daniel says he first assumed it was an accident until the camera zoomed in. Lying on the ground was a massive creature with membrane wings, a long, pale body, and a shape eerily similar to what people traditionally call a dragon. He heard police ordering civilians to retreat due to radiation risk. The video ends as the military covers the creature with a tarp. And the thought that still haunts Daniel is this: if something like that exists here, how many other secret areas across the United States are hiding similar creatures?
I will be honest, if this were me in real life, I would have run the second this started.
This incident happened off the coast of Florida, near an area once used by the U.S. Navy for equipment testing and maintenance, not far from a coastal nuclear power plant that has since been shut down. The military ship shown in the clip was confirmed to have been abandoned for decades. No power, no crew, no activity. During a joint patrol between the Coast Guard and Port Security, a thermal drone was launched to inspect the ship after reports of signal interference in the area. That drone detected an abnormal heat source below deck, inside the engine compartment. That should not have been possible. The ship had no fuel and no power source. There was only one point of access, a broken round porthole. An officer moved closer and recorded inside. Then, from the black water below, a smooth, wet head slowly emerged. Its skin surface was covered in strange nodules resembling old injuries. Its black eyes did not blink, only stared through the shattered glass. The creature did not swim upward. It did not attack. It simply stayed there, releasing slow bubbles as it breathed. Then, without any warning, an engine that had been dead for years suddenly started on its own for exactly 5 seconds. The drone lights flickered. Communication was lost. The video corrupted. When the data was recovered, only a single frame remained. The creature's face staring directly into the camera through the broken glass. No official report ever explained the heat source. And since that incident, the ship has been completely restricted from access.
This case began in the most ordinary way. The kind of morning call nuclear police in the US handle all the time.
The incident occurred at a small poultry farm in central Georgia, not far from a support zone connected to Plant Vogtle nuclear power station. Early that morning, while checking the coops, workers noticed an old chicken standing completely still for several minutes. That alone was strange, but what made them call local police was what stood next to it.
What was that?
They erased the people, the buildings, and the entire timeline, but they missed a few things. The Empire never failed, they just buried it. And we literally might be walking on top of it. Have you ever wondered why some things are bigger than life? You've walked through cities built by ghosts, and you've seen cathedrals that nobody can explain. Tunnels beneath cities that shouldn't be that deep, and windows that nobody can explain. And there's a reason why it feels off. Because something used to be here. We've been betrayed. They're trying to make it easier by deceiving you, putting fluoride in the water. If they can keep us anxious, confused, and spiritually flatlined, then we're not asking the right questions. But I did find something over here on TikTok. It's called Ormus Gold Oil. It's known as the elixir of the gods banned from the mainstream. It helps to undo some of those things that have been done. Clearing your pineal gland like spiritual auger, and that colloidal gold helps to light up your energetic body, because we are made of frequency, vibration, and energy. We were meant to pull things out of the ether because we are part of the ether. You're a light body. There's more to the story than we've been told. And if you're ready to start unraveling the mysteries, I'm gonna link this in this video for you. They suppressed my account, so if that orange card is showing up, don't wait, grab it. The link's been blocked for my friend.
Oh. Damn, bro. I need to find that interview. That was spot on. I'm excited. I want to learn more. I want to rewatch that video and take notes, because like the verbiage, I will never be able to remember the verbiage from only watching it one time. I will have to continue, but I fully comprehend what he's saying. I know that that's what it is. And so like my mind knows that, but trying to actually live it's a skill, and I'm learning. I'm growing every single one, and that's all we can do. Thank you for tuning in to Little Boss Energy, where we uplift, motivate, and inspire each other to get our shit together. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and if you know somebody who you think would enjoy watching this, share it with them. I hope you have an amazing 24 and the best 7 yet. And the divine will radiate love and kindness and compassion and abundance and peace and joy and all the things over your life. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Till I see you on the next one. I love you.
Lady boss energy, yeah, she knows the way. You can finally speak of love and light any time of day. Lady boss energy, this one she got the vibe. Never stop questioning, never tell a lie.